Hello, everybody, and welcome to the weekly Oracle Wisdom. My name is Natalie Sadie, for those of you that are joining me for the very first time. We are going to have a look at what the Oracle cards have to tell us about the energies for the week ahead. I hope that everybody had a wonderful weekend. We did have the lunar eclipse last night. It wasn't visible here in the US, but it was visible from my home country in Australia. With that being said, though, I was actually out on a walk down by the water last night, and the full moon was absolutely spectacular. It was so low and so full and so yellow. I actually stood there for about 45 minutes just watching it, and then there were seals swimming by, and it was just, you could feel the power coming off it. Hello, Iggy. I'm so happy to have you here. Okay, so all right, there we go. We are starting with the Ascending Life Oracle, which is a MahrukhX deck. And for those that didn't catch full disclosure on Thursday, I announced I've been actually chatting with Mahrukh. As we know, her decks are some of my favorites. I'm going to be using 2 of them today, and we are in talks with her to join us on Gemini rising and share her story and how she does all of this, how she's created this incredible business that so many people that do oracle cards and even tarot cards, why we all love using her deck. So I'm super excited about that. But tomorrow on Gemini rising, going live at 6:30 p.m. Pacific time, which will be after Anne's class is over. For those of you that are enrolled or that want to enroll, you really should. We will be going live with Gemini Rising with Christopher Maher, and we will be talking about the next generation of light workers. We'll be talking about the impact that a partner can have on somebody's behavior. That to me is an incredible topic. And then Anne and I will be sort of sharing and comparing notes about the results that we've seen since working with Christopher individually. So that'll be a really, really great episode. So I hope you will join us for that. The live stream will be up later tonight. So make sure you set your reminder for 6:30 p.m. tomorrow. Okay, so we've had a few cards jump out while I was shuffling and chatting. So the first one coming up is up in the air. Okay. This kind of sums up my day. Not knowing where you stand, situation, decision, still undecided, uncertain about something, lacking stability. So I feel like there's just this element of instability this week, which can be incredibly frustrating if you feel like you don't have a good, grounded sort of understanding of where it is you're meant to be going or moving. And I'm not sure that you're necessarily going to get the answers this week. The next card that jumped out is the Death card. Inevitable end, big transformation, shedding required, dead end. So if you're feeling unsure about something that you've been questioning whether or not it needs to end, maybe that's what this is forcing you to look at, the fact that you don't have the stability that you need. So in order to be able to move forward and gain that stability in your life, there is going to be this inevitable end, which will lead to a big transformation. And endings are always scary because we like to hang on to what is familiar. Sometimes it's hanging on to something that we love and we care about. However, this life at times gives us things for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And sometimes that reason is completed. Sometimes that season comes to an end and it is time to move on. So you just need to be prepared. As I always say, though, when these endings happen, when there is death of a situation, it always brings in something new. It's like the forest fires or the bushfires, as we call them in Australia. When they ravage an area, it's devastating for the animals and the plant life, and it looks like nothing will ever grow there again after everything's been burned. However, Often the fires will get seeds to open up that otherwise couldn't have opened up. They need the heat in order for those seeds to be released. And all of a sudden, there's this new germination and a new forest or bush regrows, and it creates a whole new area of life. And throughout the lifetime of this planet, fires have raged through different areas because it needs to be cleaned up. They need this rejuvenation. So just remember, if you are going through a painful ending, that it means there is something better coming in. There is something else that is going to germinate, that is going to seed and sprout and come forth. The next card out is the unseen, working behind the scenes, not seeing the full picture, the blessings you don't see, magic happening behind the scenes. And this is what we have to think about whenever we're going through this, the ending of something. It means there is something at play that we don't yet know. We don't yet understand it. It's not clear in our own minds, but there is something that is growing and that's already taken root, and it's getting ready to come in, but it can't do that if the old things still exist. So think about a plant growing. If you're growing it from a seed, you put it in the soil, you water it, it's sitting outside with the sun beating down on the soil, and we see nothing happening. And we think, oh, is this even going to work? Because there are seeds that don't ever grow. For whatever reason, it just doesn't happen. But more times than not, while we're waiting and thinking that nothing's going to happen and there is nothing going on, that seed is bursting open, the roots are taking hold, and you need a good foundation, you need a good root system in order for the plant to be able to grow and actually sustain life and be able to be there long term. So you need to trust what is going on behind the scenes and that it is happening for your highest good. The past, feeling nostalgic, mentally reliving the past, the return of past lovers or friends, the return of a past situation. So as things are feeling unstable, as there are possibly these endings that are taking place, it's very normal for us to reflect on the past and, feel nostalgic about the things that were and the things that brought us joy. And sometimes when we're doing that, we romanticize the things that were. We focus on the good, especially if we're thinking about a past love. We forget all the terrible crap that we went through with them. And it's because time heals and it takes away those more difficult moments. Our memories focus on the good, which is a wonderful, wonderful thing, but we have to be honest about what it was. The other thing is we still have a number of planets that are in retrograde. So having things come back from the past is fine. Sometimes it's nice to revisit those friendships. I find sometimes when people come back from the past, it's often putting a full stop at the end of that relationship. Sometimes it rekindles it because we've both gone off and done the work that we need to do in order to grow in the way that we needed to grow and be able to sort of come back together. So just be open to that. When lovers come back, who am I to say, do it, don't do it? I would just say if you're moving down that path, I would be wary and very honest about why things ended the first time, because often, unless people have done significant amounts of work, things don't change. Maybe it was you that needed to do the work and to change. So just pay attention to that. The other thing is the return of a past situation. And the first thing that popped into my head was an old job coming back. Maybe it's a connection with somebody you used to work with. So yeah, just be open to whatever it is that is coming through. Happiness, feeling happy about your life, an incident that made you happy, a smoother ride through life, feeling on top of the world. So I feel like this is what's coming after you let go of whatever it is that needs to be let go of this week. I feel like there is a joy that's coming in, a feeling of ease, I want to say, because especially if you've been dealing with instability and feeling like you aren't certain about what it is that's going on or aren't certain about a situation, even when something ends and it's sad, there is often a feeling of relief, like I can breathe and I know what's going on and I understand. So know that that's on the other side. And then we've got the evil eye. You are protected. Cleanse and protect your energy. Jealous people nearby. Careful of who you trust. So it is important to remember that you are protected, but it is also important to protect yourself. The other thing is, sometimes when past situations come back, I always think that you have to be aware of people's motives. Why are they choosing to come back? What is there something specific they want? Do they want you to be the person you were back when? So keep that in mind. And just if you're getting downloads or you're getting that intuition that tells you to be wary, listen to it. The other thing is, if you are able to navigate a situation that is a little bit tricky and difficult for you, okay. If you're able to navigate a situation that's difficult for you and you come through the other side and then you are in this place of happiness and joy and things are going well, this is where jealousy comes out, because other people sometimes, if they're afraid to let go of the thing that they know they should, or if they're afraid to move on with their life, when they watch somebody who is in tune enough and brave enough to step through these obstacles and get themselves to the other side, there is often an element of jealousy that exists within them. Fluidity, staying flexible and adaptable, keeping an open mind, going with the flow, and being teachable. So you need to, this is the whole thing. When things are shifting and things are changing, we always go in and so often we have a very fixed idea of how things are meant to play out or how we think they should play out. And the reality is we have to be open to what the universe is providing for us and the direction that it's pushing us. And we just need to remember to be adaptable. We need to be open to the opportunities that are coming up. Don't be so fixed in your vision that the universe is offering you opportunities and you refuse to take it because it doesn't suit the vision in your head. Say yes to the new things that are coming through, even if they're a little bit scary or you're not sure if you can do it. Just say yes and go on the journey. And, if it doesn't work, you've got a great story and you know what doesn't work. So moving forward, it then becomes a little bit easier. But what if you say yes and it turns out to be the most phenomenal opportunity of your entire life? And the final card from the Ascending Life Oracle is love, romantic feelings, mutual attraction. Someone has feelings for you. Focus on love. So there is this element of romance and love that is coming through this week. So again, be open to it. I know that there are plenty of people that watch this and say, I don't want to date anymore. I don't want this. I don't want that. That's fine. Maybe there's just somebody admiring you from afar. And that's always a lovely, lovely feeling, just to feel desired and wanted. But if you're single, maybe there's somebody new coming into your life. And again, be open to that, especially if this instability is related to a relationship for you. And if you've been feeling stuck somewhere because you're not getting your needs met and it's not working. And so you finally make the choice to sort of break free and do what's right for you. Maybe this is what will bring in something that gives you the things that you need and that you desire. So now we're moving on to a new MahrukhX deck that I had delivered this week, the Mystic Fortune Reading Oracle deck. I have been playing with this for days and I love it. Okay, so the first card out is In Bloom Unfolding, expansion, thriving, increase. So this is a week where we are meant to expand, but in order to do that, in order to make room for it, this is where we have to let go of the things that aren't serving us. But there is absolute growth coming in. Home and belonging, roots, comfort, family, and safety. So this may be a week where it's related to home, and home can be you nesting and creating the space that you need, that will nurture you, that will give you what you need, and comfort in terms of creating the space that is going to give you all of that. The other thing is it's leaning on family. And every time I say family, it doesn't need to be blood related. I know I always had a difficult relationship with my family, and for many, many, many years, people would ask me about my family, including when I was on The Bachelor. And they kept saying to me, we need your family, because we were very close to hometown dates. And I said, having my family there is not the right choice. And they're going, but this is what we need. And at their hometown visits. And I said, but do you understand? I don't have a cookie cutter family. You're going to get a better show if you bring in the family that I built for myself. And that is my closest friends that are my family. These are the people that know every single thing about me. My family at the time knew very little about my life. So lean on family, whether that be your blood related family or the family that you created for yourself. And just make sure that you have that place of safety, especially if you need to grieve something that you have let go of, or maybe it's just you need to go and just feel enveloped by warmth and love and supported. I'm going to pull two more. Oh, there we go. Right, I'm just going to pull this other card before I reveal what. Okay. Okay. Burdens and sacrifice, trials and costly consequences. So this to me just relates to the death card. I feel like we really are in this space of where we're letting go. I don't for a second think it's about sacrificing ourselves. I just think it's the consequences of actions that have taken place previously, and it's not necessarily ours, or maybe it is. So if somebody else has been playing around and making things chaotic, this is their consequences. You walking away, you choosing to do what's right for you, is the consequence of their actions. At the same time, if you have been the one causing chaos and creating doubt and not able to kind of commit to whatever is going on, or whatever it is you were required to commit to, this may be your consequence, that whatever was there is now being taken away. Either way, what comes after is going to be wonderful, and it is going to be good for you and growth and all of that. So this is what you have to remember. And then the final card, which ironically, every reading I've done with this deck in the last several days, this card has come out. So this is a big theme for this week. Shake up and wake up call. Volatile time, drastic change. So change is coming whether you like it or not. So how you navigate this is what is up to you. I always think change is a good thing, even if the process of change is painful at times. That lightning strike or the volcano erupting, it's shocking, and then we have to deal with the aftermath. But then afterwards, a whole new world grows. And even Hawaii is a perfect example. It's like it's a volcanic island, and yet you look at the lava that has cooled and dried and sort of formed this island. You get trees and animals that live in amongst all of that, and it feels like the most inhospitable place to live, and yet this incredible ecosystem forms. So just know that no matter how easy this transition is or how difficult this transition is, it is transformative, and great things are going to grow from that. Okay, so we're just going to pull a couple of energy and spirit oracles, Sandra and Taylor. Emotional desert, inactivity and isolation. I think this is what we've been feeling, and I think that if you choose to hang on to the things that you are being forced to let go of, this is where you're going to end up. You're going to feel isolated. You're going to feel like you're existing in this desert. And that's the inactivity part of this. When you do nothing, when you choose to stay in that place, you get more of the same. The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different outcome. And that's just where it's at. We all have free will in this life. And okay, there we go. I knew there was one more in there. We have free will. So as much as the universe is pushing you towards this, and we do hit a point where the universe will just go, right, I'm taking these things away. And the universe did it to me with a bunch of clients before I moved over here to the US in Australia. And I remember being just devastated and broken that all of these things, and it wasn't even that I was fired, there were things going on with the company. So the work that I had regularly just wasn't there anymore. And I was such a mess, and all the stuff with the US developed. And as soon as I started acting on the next chapter in my life, all of those clients came back in a different form, but the regularity of work, all of that came back to me in the most unexpected way. And that kept me employed until I left Australia. And when I reflect on that time, and I was so devastated and broken when I lost all these clients, but it was the universe going, if we don't take this away from you, you're going to remain here on this path because it's safe. So they took it all away to get me moving, and then went, right, now you can have it back for the length of time that you need it for. But if we're not at that point where the universe is going to rip this away from you, you have the choice to stay, but then this is where you're going to end up, because you know that the choice that you're making is, I guess, what you think is the safe option, or the option that will give you comfort and give you the thing that you want, versus going after the thing that you need. The next card out is kinship, community, your group. So I go back to the home belonging card. This is a time to lean on your people, whoever they may be, whether they be your friends that are family, the family that exists. It is whoever picks you up in those times of trial, for lack of a better word. And it's, you know what? It may not even be that serious. I'm making it feel so heavy. And I don't think it's necessarily that, but it's just in a time of great shift, sometimes it's as simple as we need to get out of our head, and we need to get out of the home, and we need to just go and be with other people and get that energy of the people around us. So just make sure you're doing that. And the final card coming out is personal guide, guardian angel, and spirit family. You always have these guys looking over you and guiding you on your path. They won't intervene unless they're asked. So if you need help, even if it's making a decision, if you're asking for guidance, if you need a sign that you're on the right path, ask them and they will give it to you. And be clear in what you're asking for. One of my favorite stories, I was here in LA, I think it was in 2016, and I was questioning everything. And I went on a hike at Runyon Canyon, and anyone that has ever been to Runyon Canyon knows there is never a moment's peace there. There are always a million people hiking, and when you sort of get to the top, that flat area that's got some bench seats and things like that where you can look out over LA, there is always so many people. Anyway, I get up there and there is not a single soul. I don't know how there isn't a soul. There just isn't. And I sit on this bench seat and I asked the universe what I was doing. I said, I need a sign to know that I'm moving in the right direction because I feel completely lost. And a butterfly flew up, and I said, that's not enough for me. If this is my sign, I need the butterfly to land on me. And the butterfly kept getting very close to my shoe, but it never landed on me. And so I'm sitting there going, ugh, this isn't the sign. This isn't the sign. The butterfly flies away. I'm still sitting there and I'm just going, ugh, I asked for a sign. I didn't get it. Then a woman walks up and says, excuse me, I'm so sorry. It looks like you're having a really special moment, but I needed to share something with you. She said, I was watching you sit there and it looked like you were having a moment and I felt the need to capture it. And she said, can I send you the photo? And I have the photo. It's probably posted on my Instagram feed. And she sent me the photo, and the photo is the exact moment that I'm looking at the butterfly and willing it to land on my shoe so that I got a clear enough sign. And I laughed because I went, oh my God, the butterfly was the sign. I was being stubborn because I decided that wasn't enough. And in that moment when she and I were talking, all of a sudden hikers came from every direction. And all of a sudden we were back to Runyon Canyon as everybody knows it. And I tell this story so that you understand, ask for a sign. If it's bring me a butterfly, it might be a butterfly in a store window. It might be a butterfly crosses your path. A butterfly gets very close to your face. Maybe it's a hummingbird. Maybe it's an owl. Maybe it's a sound or a song that plays. But when you get it, make sure you acknowledge it, thank the universe, thank your guides for giving it to you, and accept the sign. Things like that. And once you start accepting that, the universe gives you more and more and more, and you're able to see them, you're able to interpret them a whole lot easier. It becomes so very easy. So I would say this week, start practicing that. It can help so, so much. I hope this reading resonated with some of you, if not all of you. As I always say, take what resonates, leave what doesn't. I hope that you all have a wonderful week. I know that change can be scary, but it's also super exciting because anything is possible. And don't forget, join Anne and I for Gemini Rising tomorrow, which is Tuesday, the 9th of September, 6:30 p.m. We're having Christopher back on the show, and it's going to be an incredible conversation. Have a great week, everyone.